watch that timetable to decide from and at what time as well. Up ahead of us, there's your left side to your right hand side. It's called Ebury Street. If you went up to the right hand side of Ebury Street, number 10, you find a house where Ian Fleming lived. He wrote the original James Bond books. Casino Royale was the first book, and then he wrote Chitty Chitty Bang Bang for his son as well. Next we'll come into Chester Square with lovely gardens in the centre of it. As we do, if you look up the footpath sharply up to your right hand side, you might be able to see a police officer up there, or a police car or a police bike. Maybe hidden in a doorway, but usually out in the footpath there. Outside the house of Baroness Margaret Thatcher, who lives in Chester Square. Opposite her house, opposite side of the square, is the house where Mary Shelley lived. She wrote a book called Frankenstein. If you don't know who Baroness Margaret Thatcher is or was, most people usually do. She was the first and the only female Prime Minister this country has had. She had the nickname the Iron Lady because she had some pretty strong policies that she used to stick to. We just have some roadworks up ahead of us here, so just waiting a little while to come through. You can look around you though, ahead of you, behind you, around this square, and the square ahead of us also. Most of the buildings are painted in one colour. Queen Anne White is the name of the paint. This is Belgravia, the most expensive real estate area of London. And the majority of the property here is owned by the Duke of Westminster. He also owns about a third of Mayfair, which is the second most expensive real estate area of London. We're coming into Eaton Square now. He actually has an apartment here in Eaton Square. The gardens in these squares are private gardens, key gardens we call them, because you need a key to get inside. There's approximately 400 key gardens spread all throughout London. As part of your leasehold conditions that you paint your building once every 10 years to make the area maintain this beautiful look to it, very neat, clean and bright. But it costs millions upon millions of pounds for a leasehold here from the Duke of Westminster. People like Sir Elton John, Joan Collins, Sean Connery, they've lived around this square. Many, many years ago, Sir Laurence Olivier and Vivian Leigh, when she was filming Gone with the Wind, had an address in this square, Eaton Square. These grounds used to be countryside in the early 1700s and beforehand, but then in the early 1700s, the Duke of Westminster's ancestors bought all of this area up. It was marshland, so they got soil in and they filled in the ground. They reclaimed the property and built these lovely Georgian townhouses all around. And because it's near Buckingham Palace, which is the primary residential address for our kings and queens, it has become so expensive here, the most expensive real estate area in London. The Duke of Westminster owns properties all around the world. A few years ago he was worth something like £6.7 billion. So not doing too badly at all. He could actually have these buildings knocked down and build sky rises all around and make lots and lots of money out of it, but he has a group that, you know, protect it because of its heritage and keep it in, you know, good stead, a good condition. The church over to your left-hand side, St Peter's Eaton Square Church, is where lots of society or celebrity weddings, baptism, christenings and funerals take place. In the centre front of the garden over to